Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War 3 with this Prussian campaign. Last time around, we went ahead and captured this region from the French, which I think went pretty well. I just noticed something. I was looking over at the map, and this is the thing. Like, I've been sitting here, like, setting it up. But then, just as I'm about to start, I think I've done this before, and I look at the map and I notice something. I noticed something very strange right over here, which is that Austria has claimed the region over here. So I'm wondering, is it so that Russia and Austria are at war? No. Then how come Austria suddenly holds this region? I think I would have noticed if Austria and Russia went to war with each other. What happened here then? My speculations are rebels, but I don't think so. The AI usually has, I mean, Russia has tons of armies everywhere, so I don't think it's rebels. I think it might have been Ottomans. Might have taken, no, it must be rebels, because this change happened recently, so rebels is the only explanation for this. But it looks so weird, especially since Russia controls, like if you go down and look at the map here, and then this province. Austria should definitely give that back, but yeah, it's probably not going to do that. Right, where were we? Yes, last time we took this, I believe. First we had one for the bridge battle, then we had one for this, and now I have options. Going against Paris, or using the Saxon army to follow up and destroy the Spanish. I ended turn and the Spanish collected all the troops, placed them into three armies, and as you can see, they're marching home with all of it. So I guess I could just follow up and destroy them. I don't think we're going to catch up to this one, but we could definitely catch up to the other two before they make their way back to Spain. The main thing is, I mean, I don't need to. If they go back all the way to Spain, then that's good, because I have no interest in going all the way to Spain. My plan is to take Paris and then defeat Napoleon. So those are like the main things that I want to do. Some of Oprah's favorite things as well, I believe. But yeah, I think what we'll do today is... Ooh, I still want to... You know what? We'll do Paris. I have decided we're going to do Paris. I am not too keen to just fight this... the remnants of Spanish army. So we're going to fight Paris. It's a pretty dangerous place. They've got lots of good units protecting. I don't think I can leave this region. It's probably pretty it's actually not that unhappy. But I'd have to leave. I don't even need to leave troops to hold it. Right. Well, this army was the one that took the brunt of the fight, so I guess Scharnhorst is the one to lead this charge. And then the prince will follow. We have a little thing here, so I out-resolved one battle here with Blucher against a small French army. I just don't want this cavalry unit, like, running about setting fire to things, so we're gonna go ahead and out-resolve, get rid of that one. And also I was a bit curious to see if the replenishment rate was better over in this region. It's probably actually better here. I wonder, maybe I should out-resolve or do this off camera, trying to cut down the Spanish as they're retreating. Anyways, that's gonna have to think about that later on. Now we're gonna go against Paris, And we're gonna take that arc. Right. We bring about 5,000 men against 2,000 Frenchmen. I mean, at this point, I mean, Napoleon would probably have moved already, I would think, to try and stop us and not be stuck in Italy like he is right now. But there we have it. Forward. Capture Paris. The outskirts of Paris, I guess. Seemingly it's become rather a small city otherwise. Yeah, I don't think this is Paris. Some outskirts of it. Interestingly enough, I can't actually see the enemy's deployment. Usually you see 1 or 2 units and even the general. And if you move around your general or cavalry, you're usually able to spot at least something over in their side. But for some reason, I see nothing. And also the terrain is rather flat, so there's no real good artillery positions. What I've done is I've put the artillery pieces on either side, so a bit of a switch up here. Usually I put them in the center next to each other. This time I put them as far away from each other as I can. We've got the light brigade on the left, we've got the infantry in the center, grenadiers, and they're gonna be led by the 2 Jaeger battalions. General over there, heavy cavalry on the right, light cavalry on the left, and there we have it. Let's go ahead and start. Right. So as soon as I start, we actually get to see some French troops. So I'm not entirely sure if that's just like a French thing. Okay, so there's someone hiding there. So we're gonna march on to that. And the thing now is, of course, there's gonna be a little bit of a problem. Thing is, why I've had the cannons ready to fire was because the enemy, of course, had very accurate guard artillery. So they could have easily shot my pieces to utter crap. Right, we've spotted quite a bit of troops over there. So that's why I decided to deploy them to start off with. But given the terrain and so forth, right, we've got cavalry moving forward. Not too nice. What we're gonna do is we're gonna bring those guys back. Grenadiers. And I'm gonna put the Jaegers like that. Line infantry. Ooh. We've just spotted a massive blob of infantry and crap. I think we want the light troops in the forest then. And we're gonna bring this cannon here. So there's a bit of fire there, there's a cavalry units moving forward. Not gonna go too well for them, I believe. Gonna form square. I'm gonna get these guys to retreat inside the square. And you know what? I'm thinking we're not gonna even have them in skirmish formation at all. You know what? I think we're gonna have to form both into square here. And because of the pressure being put on here, I'm gonna move over the general. So the Jaegers have moved inside the square of the Grenadiers to protect them. We're doing the same on this side. I'm gonna tell them to hold fire, otherwise I'll imagine they would do quite the damage on the Grenadiers. We'll bring up this cannon, and I'll also bring up my heavy cavalry, my dragoons, to deal some damage over there. The French have elected to move straight into us, but it's some heavy infantry. I can see Old Guard in the back. Given the situation, I think we're gonna have these guys swing up. These guys will hold their position. Right, General arrived just in time. There's a bit of a morale drop for the 2 squares. And that was enough to send them away. They've got more cavalry coming in. I'm gonna have my dragoons clean off the sides of the squares and then see about charging that. I'm enveloping the enemy over on this side, as per usual. Got possible cavalry attack coming in there. Need to form a square on the side. Hussars moved into the flank. Cannons moving into right position. And I think this is the area where I need to keep an eye out because of the old guard and the infantry. I think the cavalry side is more or less done. You know what? No. You will go for the artillery and you will deal the last damage over there. What are you guys firing at? Right. Got light hussars moving in. The enemy is actually firing the wrong way, so you can form square and then let's go back to normal. Right, they bypassed that square, but that just means that they're gonna lose men. Could be dangerous though. Heavy cavalry going straight into the light brigade. Right. Drop the square. Cannons gone. The cavalry will keep the chase on. Drop the squares. Jaegers can fire again. And then you 4 form into lines. Cannon situated over there. The encirclement worked, the infantry were destroyed, and the general Prussia was killed. We got more old guard, we got more stuff. So even though we're off to a good start here in the battle, the French still have troops. Looks, however, though, as though the forest is very much cleaned out. So I think we can get all our troops straight through, which means I need to send the cannons over here instead. And we're gonna go ahead and close up that gap. It's a lot of cavalry up there. And I think we're gonna redraw the lines here. As such. Artillery piece will continue moving that way. The hussars might want to move up a bit. I think we'll keep the square. I was actually about to put it into line, but as we can see, they're about to get charged again by very heavy cavalry. It's that massive cavalry unit. Oh, I didn't realize it was that one. That could very well spell the doom for some of the units over in the light brigade, so we definitely need Scharnhorst over there. A charge by the hussars.
Our general is under attack.
Coming in from the flank. I don't know if that's gonna help a lot, but we're gonna do it. Just to relieve some of the pressure, hopefully, from the light brigade. Ooh, the general's really close here. No! Just as he used the Inspire ability, the 8th Light Prussian Fusiliers go ahead and break. My hussars are hot on a trail on the enemy cuirassiers, and finally, kind of the morale has come up to them again. At the same time, we do have... Where do I put all my... Dragoons. Dragoons, continue over there. You will continue over here. We definitely need something to bring up the flank here. The French are actually putting up quite a bit of resistance here, and with the fact that they the enemy cavalry really screwed me on this side, light brigade kind of broke up quite a bit. I haven't been able to use my cannons either. And given the losses of the light brigade, I don't see them moving forward to aid the rest of the battle line, which right now Luckily for me, it seems like most of the shots are being fired into the ground by either side. Which I'm not too concerned with that that's happening, because what we're going to do is we're going to put most of the effort, of course, coming in from the flank. As we've got infantry, but then also the grenadier and the voltigier slash Jaegers coming out of the forest, putting down a heck of amount of fire here. And then my heavy cavalry is going to come up behind there. The hussars riding about, and that square holding kind of a bit on its own. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this one up a little bit, just to form it into square, because oh shit, I can see them. Scharnhorst seemingly being charged as he's lost some men right there. Right, I guess it's time to gain some further ground here. We do have a slight ridge that we need now. Now when I'm ready and I've got definite advantage, I think we're ready to move past this ridge in the terrain. So now that we're actually being able to put down effective fire straight at each other. Especially when we meet... I thought that was the old guard, but it wasn't. They're further on the right. Rather quickly, the French units start to break, just because, I mean, look at the amount of troops I'm bringing up. Very effective fire. We'll have the cavalry going in from the back. The light brigade will just be squares in the forest. And it doesn't matter too much that French troops are able to escape here, because right, I think it's we need to hold fire here.
Our men are running, sir.
We shot a little bit too many of our own. Okay, these guys firing onto the old guard should keep firing. Ooh, some really good shots there into the side of the old guard. Enough to break them, and then my cavalry is killing off the rest. We've got a single cavalry unit out there still deciding to fight. We've got a bit of a high ground right here, so if I place a cannon, I can possibly shoot them down. Place the cannons like so. I think my cavalry should be enough, or if these idiots want to, as it looks like, gonna ride straight onto the square, which I'm wondering why. They waited until the enemy was closer to fire, and there we go. I believe Paris has fallen. No, we've got one unit left there, a cannon. So I guess one of the easiest battles of this campaign, it's over in 11 minutes, was the Battle of Paris. And wait, did I lose what cavalry dude? Yes, I did. Somehow. Just riding past the enemy. That cavalry unit that routed, they didn't actually lose that many men. However, the light troops did. That one Prussian Fusilier, where I missed. The forest kind of covered it. That heavy cavalry unit. But I think we did rather okay, given that it was Paris we were attacking. And yeah, let's go back to the campaign map, shall we? It was a decisive victory, and out of my 5,600 men, we lost 400, and the enemy lost everything, wherein which we killed 1,900 of them. Highest killers are Prussian Hussars, then veteran musketeers come in out of nowhere. But yeah, there we have it. Paris was taken, and supreme victory was achieved. Prussia stand victorious. But, as I said, I am not gonna rest until we actually kill off Napoleon. We need to defeat him in battle. So, even though taking Paris is a great blow to the enemy, we're not gonna rest until we got Napoleon. So, oh, they haven't even upgraded some of these places here. Some of the mines and the learning center, the center of culture, was not upgraded. What becomes their capital now then? That area, which is probably the worst place to move it. If I was them, I'd probably move it to Marseille and have that, or closer to Napoleon, even still Milan. But massive loss to the French as they lose their capital. The spy is going to go ahead and infiltrate that area. Oh shit, look at that. The Battle of Paris is certainly not over because we have a rather large force onto our flank, which is right now laying siege to the British. 3 turns until the British surrender. I'll place the Prince on the bridge here. One thing that I notice is that replenishment rate could be better. So I'm wondering if how many turns would it take to switch this to a supply warehouse? 4. Would we have time for that? And this also kind of prompts me to attack here. Let's see, is this an auto-resolve? Yes, it is. Is it a bad auto-resolve or is it a good one? Let's see. 800 men is a little bit more than what I had expected. And especially given how many of the enemy we killed. But we definitely need to lay on the enemy. So I'm wondering if the replenishment rate is not better. It's actually worse here. So better in the Paris region. Is it better here, maybe? I think there was... yeah, in this region it was the best. If, of course, not over in the Belgian region, but this region had really good replenishment rate. Right, I at least gave these guys a knockabout, so I think that's going to keep the Spanish retreating away. I think for the next one then, we'll have to keep an eye on what's happening in Normandy. I think the coolest thing would to be to have a fight where we actually have Prussian and English troops fighting on the same side in a battle against some French troops. Also, yes, my navy should be able to move. There was a French navy here somewhere a while ago. Maybe they're hiding out here. Anyways, I'm gonna send my fleet forward. We're gonna see, is that Wellington? Standing ready. Yes, Arthur Wesley. So we do have a French fleet here. Of 3 ships. One of which has no cannons according to this, I believe. And Russian frigate. Interesting. Right, hopefully they'll actually try to move out of port and fight us. That would be cool. And then they have another ship over there. I also wish to capture trade ships. But yeah. So the main concern right now is what's going on here. It would be nice if the British could actually send over a lot more troops. Given how many they have back in England right now, they could just send it all over. I mean, I just took Paris, so they could definitely do that. I also need to kind of check diplomatically Because the more you take, so if we go here, so the plus sides is military alliance plus 80, trade agreement plus 60, territorial expansion minus 34. So that's the thing to look out for. But it looks as though my allies are all very happy with me, except for Switzerland. Baden-Württemberg is not too happy with me. And it says alliance with enemy nation. However, they have no enemies, so I guess it's a bit strange there, but everyone seems to be fine. Seems that the relationship in between the Ottoman Empire and the rest seems to be going better as it progresses. Same with the Greeks, because I believe the Russians were a bit unhappy with them to start off with. But I guess they've set up trade with the Russians, so that's why. So all my vassals are kinda doing well. The Swiss, very unhappy with the Austro-Hungarians. Baden-Württemberg, really unhappy with everyone except Spain, Portugal and France. And also the Pope. And Switzerland. Kinda a little bit with Belgium and Denmark, but who cares about those people? Right. I think we'll go ahead. I think that's it for this episode. What we're gonna do next is gonna be dependent on what the enemy does. So when I end turn, if you see a massive movement to Paris, then of course the next video is gonna be Second Battle of Paris. If the Spanish decide to stop and turn around, then the battle is definitely gonna be here somewhere. And if none of that happens, then I could probably send Blucher over to aid these, and we would have 3 versus 4 stacks, and we could try and help save the British. We have 3 turns until the British fall over there. Otherwise, there could be a plan then to, I guess, continue the march after the Spanish and try to go for Marseille then. Take Marseille, and then turn towards clearing up this bit. And well, the thing which will count the end of the video or the end of this series will be when I defeat Napoleon, rather than a complete victory over the enemy, because we will kind of counter. So when Napoleon is gone, it's all going to fall apart. Spain is not going to want to continue the war. The French populace definitely don't want to continue the war after I've just taken their capital and so forth. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!